Hello, my family. Hello, hello, hello. It's Rosalind again. So you know what that means. That means it's time for real talk now. A woman's heart. A woman's heart should be so hidden in Christ that a man should have to seek him to find her. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not shouting, I am clean living. I'm whispering, I was lost. Now I'm found and I am forgiven. When I say I am a Christian, I don't speak of this with pride. But you know what? I'm confessing that I stumble and I need Christ to be my guide. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not saying that I'm not bragging about my success. But you know what I'm doing? I'm admitting I have failed and I need God to clean my mess. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not claiming to be perfect. My flaws are far too visible, but God believes I am worth it. When I say I am a Christian, I still feel the sting of pain. I have my share of heartaches, so I call upon his name. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not holier than thou. I'm just a simple sinner who received God's good grace somehow. Pretty is as pretty does, but beautiful is just plain beautiful. Beautiful Christian Sisters by Maya Angelou. I have some leading ladies as my guests tonight that will give us a peek inside their lives and dispel some of the confusion of being single ladies and single ladies in Christ. I love these ladies, and believe me when I say their lives are far from dull, yes. Ladies, I want you to introduce yourself to the family and tell us just a little about yourself. Amen. Anybody can start.
Good evening, everyone. I am Adni Godin out of the beautiful state of Florida. I am the mother of 2 amazing children, and I love Jesus.
Good evening, ladies. My name is Stephanie. I am a wonderful Christian woman who loves the Lord, and I just love being around my sisters in Christ, and I'm an entrepreneur enjoying my business.
Hello, ladies. I'm Indy Jones, or Doc Indy on social media. I'm a physician, excuse me, and entrepreneur as well, a wellness coach empowering women. So as I empower myself, I try to share the empowerment love. And I have one son that I'm raising, a grown son that's on his own and married. So he's the married one, I'm the single one.
Hello, my name is Carla McLean. I was married, then divorced, then married, and now a widow. And God is still giving me beauty for my ashes.
Hi, good evening, sisters. I'm Allison. I'm from the beautiful state of New York, and I've been in the Christian faith for many, many years, over 20 years, and I enjoy my single life and working in the occupation that I'm in, advocating for people with disabilities, and I'm honored to be here tonight.
I'm going to get my beautiful, beautiful Kathy Moore to come on in and bless us.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kathy Moore from Little Rock, Arkansas. I am single, and today is my birthday, and I'm celebrating life as I always do because I'm thankful to be here another year, and I'm thankful to be on this panel. Thank you, Rosalind, for inviting me. I am chronically single, and I am waiting on my king from God. So, with that being said, welcome to the show.
I told you all, my panel are far from dull, okay? So we're going to have a good time right now, okay? All right, so I'm going to ask the question. I want everybody to jump in one at a time, okay? That question is, do you think that we, as women, often compromise our virtue to have a piece of a man? What does a piece of a man look like? And why are single women viewed as being lonely? Adney, you're muted.
I was
This is
saying
what
Kathy,
I'm going to do.
I was saying Kathy was muted.
Okay, let's do this. We're gonna make this easier.
Mhm.
If everybody don't mind, let's just keep ourselves unmuted and we
Okay.
can just come in as long as you don't have any background noise, and I trust y'all.
Okay,
Let's just do that. That way it's just easy, make it flow a little bit easier. How about that?
that sounds wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, so the first, you got to give me that first part.
Oh, okay. So what I said is that, do you think that we as women, and I mean married women, single women, women period, compromise our virtue to have a piece of a man? And when I say piece of a man, what does a piece of a man look like? We hear that. What does that mean? And why are single women viewed sometimes as being lonely?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer this question backwards. First and foremost, Christian women are viewed as being lonely because we ain't got nobody. Right? We'll take, like for me personally, I don't mind taking myself out on a date. I don't mind I love me. I love spending time with me. I love getting to know me. As a matter of fact, the journey I'm on is so amazing. So yeah, of course I would be viewed as being lonely. Most of the women that are in my life are married. I'm the only single one. So yeah, I could get why they would say that I'm lonely, but I'm not. I'm loving life. Second question is, a piece of a man, what does that look like? That looks like a man who has nothing going on for himself, but because he fills that spot and fills your bed at night and keeps you warm, that's all that matters. And there are a lot of women, married and single, who will compromise their virtue just to have a piece of a man, because number one, I don't have to sleep by myself at night and he keeps me warm, right? And number two, whether he makes me happy or not, I don't have to be like everybody else because I have a husband, but you're miserable. That's how I want to answer.
Okay, I'll take this one. A piece of a man is nothing but a raggedy man. And have I been down that road before? I most certainly have. I'm in a better place today, but I've been through the raggedy man before, trying to see what's out there, trying to figure out what's going on, and trying not to be alone. But you know what? The end result, it's not even worth it. At the end of the day, it's like, what in the world am I doing? So a piece of a man, y'all can keep him. I don't want him.
I like to
Got
piggyback.
to come in after that. Oh my goodness. You know, Betty Wright.
Go ahead, Kathy. I'll go after Kathy.
Well, you know, Betty Wright has this song, and I love me some Betty Wright, Roz. A piece of a man is better than no man. When she gets to that part, I just cringe. Because I'm like, oh no, Betty, you're wrong about that. So here's my thing. A lot of women, as Adney stated, they are not loving themselves. When I tell you I love me some Kathy, Carla, Dr. Indy, do I?
Yes, you
I
do.
love
Yes.
Kathy. But first and foremost, I love God. So when you love
Mhm.
God and
Yeah.
then love yourself, you won't settle for that BS. You won't settle for you can't. A brother can't step to me with and I'm not trying to say, but I'm telling you, women, when you love God and
Mhm.
love yourself,
That's right.
everything is crystal clear. You can celebrate your birthday by yourself and have a
Yes.
chef to come and cook you a meal. But
Yes.
you can celebrate with your girls, with your Christian
Yes.
friends, with your friends, with your family. And when I tell you this birthday, my cup is running over.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I can
And
tell.
then with what happened this weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm settling down. I'm ready to settle down. Now, don't get me wrong. But I'm not gonna settle.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. I'm
And
next.
that's great, Kathy.
Yeah.
I'm next. I can't wait. So I have been married. Okay. I've been single or divorced for coming up. I think this year will be 8 years happily divorced. So there is this stigma that we're just to be pitied. Oh, you don't have anyone yet? Oh, aren't you lonely? You can be in a relationship and lonely. Lonely is a relative thing. Everybody experiences loneliness at some point. Just because you're in a relationship, you can be in a room full of people and be lonely. So it's just like any other emotion. You get through it, but you're not stuck in it. And there's this
Right.
stigma that you have less, I don't know, like there's something wrong with you, or you're not as valued unless you're attached to someone. And then this whole piece of a man concept, there are women out there who do that. And they've been taught that way. They don't know how to love themselves and see themselves as God sees them. And so men know that. The whole, I say it's a myth that, it's more, not a lot of available men, more women than men, all that kind of thing. So they think they can step up to you and be like, hey, you want a piece of me? No, thank you. Adios. I had that happen to me recently. I'm like, are you serious? No, I'm not the one. So again, it's a stigma, but as a single Christian woman, like Kathy said, I love God and I love me some me. No peace. And I don't really suffer from chronic loneliness at all.
But I think something else that we should talk about, sisters, is the culture, because I
Yes.
know all of us have felt that pressure of wanting to be married and have children. It is so ingrained in us from when we're younger that's why sometimes I feel we compromise in this area. And I would say that this platform is not to make anyone feel bad, because I know all of us can learn from all of our relationship journeys that we go through. But even just recognizing that you may be with someone that might be a fixer-upper or may not be on the same level with you, it's important that you recognize that and maybe transition that person into a friend, because you don't necessarily need to have them in your life romantically and be there for them that way and not be fulfilled. So I think what we hear a lot from what everyone is saying, that you may be in a relationship, but it's not fulfilling, but you can check off that you're not single. So you want to be whole, like we see with Kathy and her celebrating her birthday. I believe in that
Yes.
too. I make sure I take off the whole week for my birthday because that's my time. So, and some people, when you talk to them, they're like, oh, I don't even want to be reminded it's my birthday or it's Valentine's Day. But you have to get to a space where you accept yourself and that you just love yourself unconditionally. Because as I've read and as you grow older, you just realize that if you can't love yourself, then you can't expect someone else to come into your life and fill that void.
Amen.
I
Yes.
think on the compromising part, I think a lot of times women compromise because they feel like my time is slipping away. I'm getting older, so I'm just gonna just be with this person, for a temporary fix. But that I don't believe that's something that women should do, because we have a God who's able, and when your time is right, your time is right, there's nothing wrong with having someone as a friend around, but to compromise your virtue just so you can say, well, I have somebody, or I'm feeling lonely, so I just need to take care of this situation right now. So
Right.
No, I don't
And
think
start
so.
to look at
Okay.
the reasons why
Yeah,
you feel you need to have someone in your life,
right.
and try to tackle those reasons too, to
Yeah.
see,
That's why Kathy said it's about loving you, you know?
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Good, good. Okay. I'm going to pose another question. I think I want Carla and Kathy to answer this one.
Okay.
Am I a hypocrite because I am still living in my struggles? What I mean,
Absolutely not.
okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I
no,
was-
you go ahead, sweetheart. You got it. I just
I
didn't
would
know if I needed
say
to elaborate.
absolutely not. The whole idea is when we women of God, Christians, we say, okay, I'm a Christian, but I'm struggling. You know, none of us are perfect. The Bible is clear. It says, for all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory. And you can still be in a struggle. But see, people on the outside, man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart.
Yes.
I may be struggling with something, a personal sin, something I'm really struggling with, but you don't know my prayers at night. You don't know what I'm saying to God at night. And then
Amen.
the whole idea about it is, even God, listen to this. God says, my grace is sufficient for
Yes.
you.
Mercy.
For my power is made perfect in your weakness. See, when we are weak, God is strong.
Amen.
That's when he can perform the best in us. He gives strength to
Yes.
the weary and
Mhm.
increases the power of the weak. That's scripture.
Preach,
Mhm.
girl.
Mhm.
So
Right.
we have to understand we are all working out our own salvation. What
Mhm.
I may be going through, you may not be going through. My struggle
Right.
may not be yours, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a hypocrite.
Right.
And once I overcome the struggle, you talk about praising God and thanking him and say, I used to be here, but look at me now. Go ahead, sis Kathy.
Amen, sister. So Roz, this is real talk, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know
Okay,
about
so
Kathy.
we
I
can
gotta
be-
watch her. Go ahead,
I mean,
Kathy.
do
You
you
do
want
what
me
you're
to be
gonna do,
real?
girl. Do what you're gonna do.
Okay, so let me repeat the question. Repeat the question.
Am I a hypocrite? And Carla hit on it. I guess I need to say, because I am a Christian. Okay, let me add that to it. Because I am a Christian, am I considered a hypocrite? Because like she said, I admit that I have struggles.
Oh my goodness. So we all sin and fall short, right? Our goal in life, our goal is to be Christ-like. We're not perfect. We're not perfect.
Yes.
And I'll be the first to say that, yes, I struggle, but do I continue to live in my sin? No. I continue to pray to God to ask him to help me. As a matter of fact, I'm on the Kimberly Hardy praying for the husband, 31 days of prayer. Oh my goodness, that has changed my life. So prayer changes things. So it has helped me to center, walking in my purpose, because I'm a single woman. I love me some biceps and triceps. Okay. But I'm trying to get to heaven. Right. So now my focus, I gotta have somebody to help me get to heaven. Okay. If I'm dating you and you trying to get me in the sack, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. I need you to help me get to heaven, not to, no. Come on, y'all. Now, I'm not a virgin. I'm just gonna put that out there. Okay. But I'm not this woman now, today, that I was yesterday. If you feel me, I'm trying to, the person that I want to be with is going to help me on my journey, not hinder me. I don't need nobody to help. It's easy to sin. I don't need nobody to help me do that, because that's easy. I need somebody to help me get to heaven, because that's our goal. That's all of our goal. If we're Christians and if you're wanting to have life with God in eternity, you have to date a brother that's coming correct. Okay? And you have to let him know, I'm not that woman. Even if I was, I'm not that woman today. I need you to feel me. And you need to put that up straight. And then I tell people, Kate, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm just listening to Kathy and Carla.
I tell people, this is my mantra, K-I-M. Doc Indy, what does that mean?
Muted.
What does K-I-M mean?
Keep it moving. We had this conversation the other
moving.
day because of the situation.
Keep it moving. If
And
it's
like,
a
I'm
bad
not that
situation,
person.
you
Yeah,
need
I'm not
to
that person.
K-I-M. Keep it moving.
She educated me on that one.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna get everybody to mute for me right now. Everybody mute. Okay. And I just want to make sure, because we're gonna hear, because I'm gonna pose these to specific people, and I want y'all the only one to answer that, because for time purpose, because I want to give y'all the max amount of time to talk. Each one of y'all. Okay. So the next one I'm talking, I think I'm gonna pose this one to. What about Allison and Carla again? Carla, you said some good stuff. I want to hear you again. On dating. I want you to tell me about some dating, okay? And dating married men. I'm not saying y'all did it. I am just asking your advice on this, or your thought. Look at Kathy like, okay? Are we open to dating men, not only because there seems to be a shortage of men, sometimes women settle, they go back to that settling, and they will even settle for the married man. And sometimes we overlook those men that are of another race. Tell me a little about that. Carla and Allison, tell me a little bit about that.
So I know all of us can think about our circle of friends and some of the conversations we may have had and be honest with ourselves. You may have friends who say, well, I need to be taken care of, or I enjoy spending time with him. Or you have people that just want material items for them to be purchased to them, or they might be good to their kids. So for those sisters that we have out there that believe in all those things, I want to pose to you in terms of dating married men that you can't be fulfilled if you're bringing pain to someone else. Now, I know I've had situations where sisters will say, I didn't know he was married, but once you do know he's married, you have to cut it off. And it goes back to that self-love and knowing your worth. A lot of us, sometimes we may not have kind messages that we say to ourselves because we think we don't deserve love, or we may be saying to us that we're getting older and we see all of our friends getting married and having kids, and why hasn't it happened for us? So we can't allow those negative tapes in our head to dictate us to go into unhealthy situations. And I'll let Carla step in on the issue with the married men before we go into the other area.
A married man is not worth your time of day. Okay. First of all, if you are messing with the married men, you don't understand your own worth. Why should any woman, especially a queen, want, again, that goes back to a piece of a man. That's a piece of a man. Why would you want leftovers? You want the leftovers? I don't want the leftovers of anything. So this goes back to, even though I've heard women say things like, well, he can go home and I don't have to be. No. You don't understand and know your worth. Because if you know who you are and whose you are, you're not going to be taking anybody's leftovers. So it's not even worth the time of day. And like my sister said, you want to hurt another family so that you can have your own desires. That's pride and arrogance. And the Bible is clear about that. Pride go before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. So you're walking in pride when you think it's okay for you to have another woman's husband that doesn't belong to you. And so we just throw scripture out the window as if it doesn't even exist. What God has joined together, let no man or woman put asunder. So the bottom line is, you don't know your worth. You don't understand your worth, because if you did, it wouldn't even be under consideration. So sisters, when we learn better, we have got to do better. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, Allison, did you want to add something to that?
And I was going to say, how you catch somebody is how you keep them. So if you are hurting someone else and they come into your life that way, then don't think that he won't do the same thing to you when he gets tired of you. So that's something else to think about, and just always thinking about your self-respect. Now, in terms of shifting gears to thinking about being open to other races or different types of men that might not be your type, I know for me that my family is not really for that, so I never explored that. But I know that there are a lot of sisters out there that do and have been very happy in their relationships because they don't focus on fulfilling a checklist that they may have created years ago. And so I know good advice that I've received is that the same way you evolve in life, so should your qualities that you look for in a man. So really focusing on the character of the man should be the focus and not so much about the physical appearance.
Amen.
Okay, I'm gonna let, does one more, anybody else want to add into that? One more, just one more. Who want to do that? I saw
I will.
Okay.
Look, let me tell y'all, first and foremost, been there, done that with the married man. Been there, done that. I was 19 years old and I'll never forget. This man told me, no, I'm not married, blah, blah, blah. Got a phone call from his wife and I had to put her in her place and say, you need to talk to your husband and not to me. That's the first thing. Number two, I want my own. I don't want yours. And I'm saying this to every single woman. If you love God, number one, in yourself, you would want your own too. There is nothing like coming home. If he knows how to cook, you walk through that door and you smell that good cooking, right? And he got your bath waiting for you and you're going to take a shower. And it doesn't matter if he's Black. It doesn't matter if he's a Caucasian or if he's Hispanic. Been there, done that too, because I have a half Puerto Rican here with me, baby. Explore. If he loves you the way that Christ loves the church, his skin color should not matter. What should matter is if this man went to God for your heart, like the poem said, that man wants you, he's going to go to your daddy in heaven to get you. That is what it's about.
All right, ma'am. Okay. All right, Adney, I'm gonna let you keep talking, sweetie. Okay. So she sounds like she on the road, don't she, y'all? Okay, listen to this. Tell me if you can answer this one for me. What does the gray area? That's a place right there. What does that gray area look like for single women? Not just single women in Christ. It's a difference. Tell me, what is that gray area that people sometimes try to avoid?
Okay, so I love Jada Pinkett's Red Table Talk. So they had a discussion and they had celebrities on there discussing how they got caught up in the gray area. The gray area is basically getting with a guy. Like he says, oh, you know what? We just gonna chill. We're gonna watch some movies. You get to his house, y'all eat. And then the first thing you said is we not having sex. Women, sisters, if you tell him you're not gonna have sex, I want you to know you say you ain't having sex, but that man on his mind, once you get here, we having us some sex, right? The whole point of the gray area and the reason this question is posed is, how do we avoid it? You don't go to his house. You don't invite him to your house. You take separate cars when y'all going out to eat. Because trust me, baby, there's some stuff that can happen in a car. Right? So you always have to remember, but the whole point is no means no. What I realized the gray area is, I feel bad because, you know, he's already ready to go and I'm already there and blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, so I might as well just let him do it because I don't want to feel bad or I want to be talked about. Be talked about. Be talked about. It doesn't matter if he goes into, man, she came to my house and can you believe she didn't even give it up? Let him talk about you. Because the best part is Christ lives inside of you and you did not allow that man to contaminate your temple. And that's what I have to say about the gray area.
I can add less. Okay, God, Doc, you can go ahead and add to that.
Yes, I agree with everything that Sister Adney said, but let's, like Kathy said, let's keep it real. It's not always about what they want. We got desires and feelings too, right? And so I just want to acknowledge that and just say that you always have to, all those safeguards that you have in place isn't always about what he wants. It's about what you want as well. But the spirit is willing, but sometimes the flesh is weak. So let's just acknowledge that we're human and we have desires as well. That's all I want to say.
All right, now, good job. Okay. Why are women held at a different standard? Okay. You even hear sometimes women with their boy child. We have a tendency to hold them at a different standard and dismiss sometimes some of that ill behavior, okay? Whether in the body or outside of the body. I'm gonna I want everybody to kind of chime in just a little on that one. And anybody can,
Okay,
Allison,
so
whoever, anybody can.
To me, this one right here is a tough one because we're being real. I was at a congregation and my flesh was weak and I got caught up with a brother and he started, acting sort of kind of funny after, he done got my cookies. And I went to leadership and I was like, hey, such and such happened and this brother's acting all funny and stuff like that. And nothing was done. When I say nothing was done, nothing was done. In the pulpit, we'll hear them talk about, oh, sisters, keep y'all legs closed. Or you'll hear stuff about where the way you dress, you gotta, dial that down. But it's not always us, right? I'm reminded of Tamar, David's daughter. She did something so innocent. Her brother, half brother, whatever you want to call him, said that he was sick. She went, cooked for him, and he raped her. What did she do that was so wrong that caused her to be violated in that way? That wasn't her fault. He planned that. He purposely planned that. And he raped her and took away the most valuable thing to her. And the thing that I'm always reminded is what she said, don't do this to me. So I'm going to say this to all the men in the body. Stop looking at only the sisters. It takes two to tango. She wasn't there by herself. It takes two to tango. That means two people should be held responsible for a situation that happened. And I definitely have to bring this up. Stop talking about these young girls when they get pregnant and you ostracizing her because she didn't get pregnant by herself. Y'all need to talk to that young man that went and slept with her and got her pregnant. The only reason y'all knew she was committing an act is because the belly started growing. If her belly wasn't growing, y'all wouldn't know that she was having sex. So it's time for us to grow up and stop and start holding everyone accountable. If I told my daughter straight up, you get pregnant, you on your own. I'm not, you and him, y'all gonna have to handle that. That's how it has to be. Stop ostracizing these young girls, talking about them and making them feel bad. All of us know sex is good. Sin is pleasurable. That's something a brother was doing a lesson with me. It is extremely pleasurable. In that moment in time, when you're in that pleasure, you're not thinking about getting pregnant. And she wasn't there by herself. And I'm off my soapbox.
I want to add to that. That goes along with if a married man steps out, the first thing often you hear, why did she mess with that married man? And I'm saying that because, yes, she was wrong. Yeah. But he's the one that has the ties who made that covenant in his marriage. She was wrong, but he should be held accountable because he had the emotional attachment. I want Stephanie to give me something on that. I want you to speak, or you and Doc Indy kind of speak on that a little bit. If you want to. Now, if you don't want to, just tell me, no, I don't want to. You gotta, Stephanie, you're muted, baby.
I think when men especially, make a commitment in a relationship such as marriage, and they violate that, it says a lot about their walk. Are we walking for the Lord, or are we walking for ourselves? So when we do that, we taint a whole bunch of people. You've messed up your family, you're messing up someone else's life, and it's something that's looked upon as like, it's a stigma that stays on you. You're gonna walk around, if you're in a congregation, you're gonna walk around, everybody's whispering about you, But again, when we go back to the standard, they'll talk more about her than they will talk about him. He can go around and do whatever services in the body and nothing is being said, but the female, she's looked upon, in a negative light. And I think it's unfair,
Yeah, Adney said it. That's the first thing that came to mind, the Scarlet Letter. And it's sort of, like you said, goes back to this double standard, that men can express their sexuality in such a way, really in any way that they want to, and be excused even when they're in covenant, because you hear so many excuses. Their sex drive is so much stronger, how they've tied their sexuality to their masculinity and being a man, all those underlying psychological things that again normalizes or just brush it under the rug, and they not be held accountable. I've seen women, and I'm not saying they should have kicked them to the curb, but when they've stepped out and had children outside of marriage, where I've even seen women kind of accept that and take care of the children. I'm not, that's on them. God bless them for doing that. But you are absolutely right, Roz. It seems to be a double standard. They're not held as accountable, and they definitely should, because of that covenant that they had.
Amen, ladies. Now, should we, as women, give up on dating at a certain age? Because me personally, okay, hold on. Me personally, I say that because we are, I think today's 50-year-old is not yesterday's 50-year-old, okay? Because we have some seasoned sisters up here, and I don't know what y'all mean. Okay, look, I am a young, almost 60-year-old, okay? And if I was not married, of course, there's nothing wrong with still dating. So what I want to know is that, should I, at a certain age, say, okay, you know what? You should be giving up on that now. Tell me. I want Dr. Indy and Stephanie to give me some insight on that. I went back to y'all again, sweeties. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Absolutely not. You hear of women get married at 50 and 60 for the first time. As long as there's still air that you're breathing and you're still living life to the fullest and loving yourself, and you're not looking for someone to complete you, but you're out there and you can attract to you someone that can compliment you and enjoy and do life together. God said it's not good for man to be alone. That means it's not good for one man to be alone. And so it does take patience. It takes, again, learning to love yourself in the season that you are waiting, keeping yourself open for opportunities, keeping yourself young and vibrant, just for yourself, first of all. But again, to have that opportunity to find that love or be found, you never want to give up. You're still breathing, you're still alive.
I agree. I just celebrated my 60th birthday in July, and my kids are grown, and I feel like, if God has given me health and strength, why not allow myself to be found by someone who's decent and of a godly spirit? You can't give up on yourself, because God doesn't give up on you. So, but be selective, because even the brothers, are not always where they should be, You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're constantly being hurt, you know. So, but no, I would never give up on the ability to date. And I don't think any other woman should either, if she's of a certain age.
Okay, good. Okay. Love language. Ooh, that love language. That love language. That's something else. Well, that after you get a divorce, okay, that love language changes, doesn't it? Okay. So this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how does that love language change once you get a divorce.
Oh, was I supposed to do that?
Everybody, that's an open question.
Because I mean, I am divorced, and I would have
Okay.
to honestly say my love language hasn't changed. You can think of what the 5 love languages, and mine would be touch and quality time. So you can get in trouble with the touchy. So in that respect, you know, there may have to be some modification and you know, and things in place with that. So now that I think about it, it's there, but you have to tailor it to the situation that, you know, that you're in. Quality time, careful with the touch, but when you're trying to love God, love yourself, and honor your temple, it can be challenging. It can be challenging because there's just certain things that you give. Maybe you weren't getting that in your marriage relationship, and you're craving that. You want to just go and get that wherever you can. So that goes back to a piece of a man kind of thing. Or I'm just going to do this and entertain myself until Mr. Right comes along. But then you find out you're not really satisfied with that either. So it goes back to, again, the self-love, having things in place and having someone on the same page as you, looking to do the same thing and being marriage minded. I no longer believe in dating just for the heck of it. That's a waste of time. You mentioned age. I'm not getting any younger. I may look and feel young, but if you're not marriage minded, it's a waste of my time. And then if you are and you realize they're not the one, then like Kathy said, at the very least, in someone else, you can be friends. Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Carla, did you want to add something to that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
When I was divorced, also divorced, married, divorced, married, widow now. When I was younger, my love language was gifts, receiving. I love the act of receiving gifts. And I was young, I was at a different place, and I love things and receiving things. But once I got divorced, I could look at life a little different. Not to say there's anything wrong with receiving gifts, but now my love language is acts of service. My thing is, help me out a little bit. You know, if you go put some clothes in the dryer and fold them, oh my goodness, some gonna go down tonight, okay? Because I'm feeling real good that you folded the clothes and you did the laundry, okay? So my love language has totally changed because I'm older now. I'm in a different place. And so as far as gifts go, I can buy myself gifts. You know, no offense to anybody. I can go buy myself gifts, you know. But no, acts of service is important to me now at this stage of my life. Go put some gas in my car. Go wash my car. Oh, I'm happy. I'm very happy about that. So yes, my love language has definitely changed because I was younger. I was at a different stage in my life. But as you grow older, things may change. Things change sometimes. And for me, it did.
Do y'all think that as we grow older, it's easier or harder to understand a man's love language? And what I mean by that is that, like you said, Carla, when you're younger, your love language may be buying you something. Maybe, and like you said, again, no offense, it changes as you mature. Sometimes it changes. Do you all think it's easier to accept a man's love language once you get older, or as you get more mature, I should say?
I honestly believe you do, because you've learned more patience. When you're younger, let me speak for me. I had no patience with men. When I say I had no patience, you better best believe every 3 months Adney was changing them because I had no patience. I'm being as honest can be. My friends, my homeboys used to always be like, Adney, you're worse than us. I don't have time for it. But as I've gotten older and God gave me a son, and when God gave me that son, he said, you got to take a look at him. Because my son already thinks he's a grown man. He's 15. And the way I talk to him, the way we communicate, he's like, he'll just give me the space and automatically it's like, okay, go to him and say, son, can you please do X, Y, and Z, right? And that helps me to even feel sympathy for men in the sense of, a lot of times we may think we have it bad, but women, let's be honest, we have it pretty really good in this world. Black or white, we have it good. Them, especially Black men, they have it a little harder. Walking out that house, somebody sees them, the first thing they see is a thug, and he could be dressed in a suit. So the love language for them, I believe for me, let me say this, I have more patience for them the older I've gotten.
So
Okay,
let me
Kath.
comment on that. So first of all, I think now that I'm older, I really understand that men are from Mars and we're from Venus, and we speak 2 different languages. Okay. So with that being said, we do have to try to translate what they're trying to say, because a lot of times it's not verbally said. And women, we like for you to communicate verbally. We like for you to speak, but that's not the case with most men. So now that I'm in my tender 50s, but by the way, 50 is a new 30, I understand that men communicate differently. So I try to get a good understanding, try to get an understanding of what they're trying to communicate with me by, confirming and clarifying before I assume that this is what they're trying to say.
Kathy, I don't want you to go nowhere. I want you to stay right there.
I'm right here, honey.
Because I want you to answer this one for me.
Okay.
Long distance relationships. Some people just don't want to do them. Because they say it can be very challenging.
Yes.
Tell me about. Give me some insight on that?
Ooh, you got 2 days. Okay, so let me just tell you on my purpose. So I've always, because of my schedule, I've always had long distance relationships, and I've had a couple of engagements that ended because of long distance, because so because that's what my preference is. That's not always what the person's preference is. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, this guy that I was really digging, we were digging each other, but he told me, he just flat foot said, I can't do the long distance. I'm sorry. I need you here. When I get off work, he said, it's not about sex. It ain't nothing about sex, Kathy. It's about, I need to have you here when I get off work. So I need to see, how you wear your hair, what you're doing, how you look every day, So I was like, well, we have FaceTime. We can do FaceTime. I'm good with that. But for me, this is work. As long as if you're a Christian woman, you don't want to get into those situations where, the Bible says it's better to marry than to burn. Okay. For me, it's better for us to let's get to know each other and let's make a decision if we're going to make a commitment to be together, because I'm not into dating for 5 years right now. I'm in my 50s. So I'm dating for a purpose. I'm dating, I'm not dating just to be dating. So the distance, let's talk every day. Let's get to know each other. Let's communicate. We don't have to see each other every day, because the more we like each other, let's just keep it real. You can kind of get yourself into some situations you don't need to be in. Let's just put it like that. Okay. So I love the long distance, but some men don't have, they have a problem with it, but it's okay. the king that's out there for me, he gon' it doesn't matter because it's geography. We can fix that once we decide that this is what we want. So
Amen to that. Okay.
I like that. And I saw Annie said she prefers that. So yes, there's some benefits to it. And I kind of had mixed feelings about it. But you're right. You can kind of be laser focused and trying to get to know one another. And when you're being intentional and see where this is going, then you can work on the whole proximity thing, visits or whatever, spending safe time together. But you're just focused and on the same page as to where this is going, and it's a little bit safer. And I think being very independent women and having so many things going on in our lives, like Kathy, you don't want to be have them up underneath you all the time anyway. So, you know, if it gets to that point where you're contemplating marriage, obviously any couple will have to make some adjustments and sacrifices as you merge your lives together. But in the courting stage, it affords that that safety, and again, you to just be able to live your life and do the things that you love to do, and walk in your purpose before making adjustments to that for someone. Because again, if they were closer in town, they could suck up a lot of your time. So there are some pluses to it.
absolutely.
Can I answer?
Sure.
Okay, so for me personally, it's a preference. I have to do it. And the reason I have to do it, I'm about to get real raw and relevant here. I have a very high sex drive, right? You don't want him. I don't want him in the same state with me. So we don't get caught up in no stuff, okay? If he's over yonder and I have to buy a plane ticket, guess what that gives me time to do? Lord, thank you so much, because now you've given me an opportunity to go and clean my mind and really focus on you. But if he's right next door and I could drive to his house, we got us a problem. So I prefer long distance dating. And I think it works. Personally, I was in a situation where we were long distance dating and we had our Zoom dates. He sent me money, went and got my food. We sat in, we had a movie night. I'm so serious. We had us a movie night. We had great conversation. He dressed in his nice suit, like for real. But I want to share this. We know that, what's her name? Halle Berry, been married how many times? This woman found love in the pandemic. And the one thing she said on the Tamron Hall show, they were dating long distance. She got to know him and he got to know her. And she would not change that for the world. She has finally found true love. It works.
Amen. Amen. Okay. Doc Indy,
Yes, ma'am.
we'll let you take this one, okay?
Okay.
When you are in your singleness, or we are in our singleness as women, what should we do to take advantage while we are single? And how can that shape the frame of being found?
Love that. Very good question. In your singlehood, instead of woe is me, I'm by myself, I'm lonely, it is a great time to get close to the Lord, to find and walk in your purpose, to grow in areas, do things that you always wanted to do, travel, a hobby, whatever, to do you. And so there's a lot of area to grow. I've done a lot of self-help type stuff, coaching, counseling, becoming a coach. All those things have really matured me mentally, spiritually, being able to think for myself, not being influenced by somebody else's thoughts, trying to hinder my own. And so in that respect, you know who you are, you're evolving, you're becoming. And so as you take note of that, you have a better sense of what it is that when you're walking in your purpose, you're going to be in spaces and places that I believe will attract you and position you to be found by someone who will, again, that word, compliment you. So that's how I look at it. It's time to do you in your singlehood. It's a perfect time, because when you get married, even the Bible says when you're married, you're worried about pleasing your spouse, not so much kingdom work. And hopefully you can do that together as a couple. So that would be something that hopefully is on all of our proverbial list, right?
Okay.
So,
Anybody
my
want to
answer.
add? I'm sorry, Doc. Go ahead and say that again.
No,
I
I'm good.
cut you off. Anybody else want to add to that?
I would definitely say that's the time for you to work on the mental stuff, like the things inside of you that would hinder you from being found, that places fear inside of you, the fear of, okay, you know, I've been through all these relationships, maybe he's going to be the same way. Or if you grew up like me without parents, you have a sense of abandonment, or you have a lack of self-worth, that you have to learn who you are in Christ, figuring out your own love language, loving you, giving yourself those, you know, words of affirmation, and, you know, those gifts and acts of service, doing things for yourself. So in the singleness, that's that time where you get to know you. This is where you learn to love you. Not only you, this is where you learn to love God. Like, you get to that place with him where when he breathes, you can feel his presence, because you've gotten to a place where you're so intimate, not just with him, but with yourself. And you've gotten to know who you are in him. And I believe that's let's be honest, we could think about Esther, we could think about Ruth, we could think about all these single women in the Bible, and they had themselves in a place. Ruth was in a field working, Boaz found her. Esther was trained by Mordecai, not trained, but prepared by Mordecai to go to the kingdom, right? But she was still in this place of preparation. So whatever was going on, she lost her parents. She could have had abandonment issues, and Mordecai helped her through that. So that's that time where you get to do all of that for yourself before getting into a marriage.
I love this. I love discussions like this, because you all are unequivocally single, but you are living in your singleness. Okay. And I hope that sounded like a compliment, because that was a compliment. I'm looking at y'all. You all are doing your thing, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. You are not, you're living in it, and you're boldly stepping out, because people assume, again, because you're single, that you're not complete. And that's the furthest thing from the truth, because you can be married and still be lonely. So having a partner does not make you whole. Having that relationship you all have with Christ, that's making you whole. That's making the difference too. And I know it's not always an easy walk, not because you're single. The Christian walk is not always easy, period.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to let you all give your final comments. I'm going to let you start, Kathy Moore. You got to unmute yourself, sweetie. Kathy just be talking.
Okay, so my advice, because I've been doing this single journey for a while, and my list has changed so much from what it used to be. 6 feet, 6 figures, that's out the window. Now it's more of, I need a partner that loves God, who has an intimate relationship, or is trying to get that intimate relationship with God. Someone who is family oriented, someone who loves family, who understands what the greatest commandment that God is saying for us to have is love for everyone. So my advice for you, if you're single and you're unhappy and you're lonely and I just want a man. I'm tired of being single. I'm tired of being by myself. I've never said those words. My advice is to get to know, love yourself, get a relationship with God, get to know yourself, and love being by yourself. I love being by myself. Sometimes it's like, I think sometimes something is wrong with me. I love Kathy. I love my company. That's what I'm saying. And when you get to that point, by really loving, getting to know yourself and getting to walk in your purpose and getting to know God. And it's a beautiful thing. I do want, if there's any single men out there, I do want a partner. And I am ready to settle down, but I'm not willing to settle for less than what God has for me. So I'm happy. This is good. I can do this all day. So if this is somebody that can make me happier, I'm great with that. But right now I'm good. If
Okay.
it'll happen.
All right.
So
Okay. You're
Ross,
gonna be
thank
all
you
right.
for having me on the show. I've enjoyed it.
Girl, we ain't ending yet. She's trying to end the show. We ain't ending yet. Okay, not going to get some.
Look, I gotta get to my dinner, honey.
You know what? That's right, Kathy. Got to go. Kathy, you go ahead. She got a dinner to go to. If you need to go, I understand. Her birthday dinner, everybody. She's on her birthday thing.
I'm enjoying this. We're good. We're good. I'm good.
Okay, who else want to give some final wrap up comments? Just tell me what's on your mind right now.
I would say this is a good time in your singleness to take inventory, because a lot of us, I'm not a big proponent for going into relationship after relationship. So I think it's important to look at your pattern to see why you're not getting the results that you want, and really reflect on that before you get into a new relationship. And not looking at your singleness as something bad, as we've been saying, really hone in on any crafts or maybe you want to pursue education or take up a new hobby, though this is the time to do it where you're not hindered by or restricted by time, and you can really explore what it is that makes you happy.
Nice, awesome, okay. All right, who else want to comment? Carla, I see you.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, whoever. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Stephanie, Carla, either.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
I think because I've been single so long, I've kind of got content with it, and but I know I do desire to date for marriage. But I'm happy. I'm happy because God gives me that peace, so that's like you can't get that. Nobody can give me that, what he gives me, but I know he has a plan, and I'm looking forward to that in his time.
Amen.
All right.
Yes, I like to say this. Single women, we need to understand we were chosen by God for God. So we don't have to take anything from anyone. I can truly say I am single by choice, because guess what? If I want to go out there and marry somebody, I know a few of them right now I can go marry. But guess what? That's not my choice. We need to understand we were chosen. Do you know the scripture says, in him we were chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything for the purpose of his will. So see, when we understand that, we don't have to rush into anything. We don't have to take anything. We don't have to settle for anything. And in the process, we get to grow. We get to mature. We get to discover who we are. And then we can do anything that we want to. We can do ministry. Why not get in ministry before you even get married? Because then you know you have your own foundation. I think the thing that we need to understand is women, single women, let's develop and put our own foundation together first before we go and join someone that said, well, I don't know what to do, and you just want to jump in with what he's doing. Get your own foundation together so you can have something together.
Right.
So understand, we were chosen by God for God. And when you understand that, you don't have a problem with saying, yes, I'm single in Christ and I'm enjoying my singleness.
Right.
Amen. Doc, Andy, you want to go or you want me to go?
You go ahead.
My final thoughts will be this: get therapy. And I say that because a lot of us single women, we jump from relationship to relationship. We get into entanglements. because we're trying to find something that was lost when we were little girls. And that little girl inside of you wants healing. And you're trying to ignore her, and she's screaming inside of you. It's time to let her heal. So the woman that God created you to be, so she can walk boldly and courageously in her purpose. As long as that little girl is hurting inside of you, you're always going to make an excuse as to why you can't do something. Number 2, give birth to your ministry, like Sister McLean said. I would have never in a million years opened my mouth and said I would be starting a ministry about abortion. Never. That was not something that I would even think twice about. But God said, I chose you for this because you're not scared. You're not scared about the topic. You're not scared to talk about it. And you're not scared to help women reach that place that you've gotten to. This is the time to give birth. Write your books. And I say books because I believe every single one of us have a whole bunch of books inside of us. Do not leave this earth with all of that present that's meant to be given to the world inside of you. Those are my final thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you. I just enjoy listening to my sisters. I'm like, I really don't have much to say. But as you were, talking about that healing, I'm a big proponent of therapy. I coach women. Some women that I coach, they're in therapy and getting coaching because it's a little different. But you're right. We're not comfortable with our wounds. We're not comfortable with knowing how we feel. If you are anything like me, I learned about my personality sometimes, and I'm a better version of that at this point in my life. You keep yourself busy so you don't feel. So you have to feel your feelings. You have to make room for them. You have to see your wounds and you have to heal them. So I just wanted to piggyback on what you said about therapy. And the other thing is realize again that no, you are already complete. There's nothing that's going to complete you. And when you're chasing that, it does not exist. That includes a man, because when you get him, he could be the man of your dreams. But it's not a matter of if, it's just when he'll disappoint you. Maybe not intentionally, but because he's human. And there's too much to put on someone to satisfy all your needs. Your satisfaction comes from our Heavenly Father. So when you are so whole and so in love with you, and you get into relationships and you have your conflicts, because you will, it doesn't come without a price. It's not all coming up roses. You get through the infatuation phase, you start letting your guard down, you're not trying to impress each other anymore and all of that. And so you just get to a place where you have this peace that passes all understanding, no matter what that person does or doesn't do, with the ups and downs and all arounds. But I still think it's better than one. So in my opinion, it's worth it, but just have reasonable expectations going into it. If there's this void that you have, you need to deal with that, because that person's not going to feel that. The it or the him is going to come. He is going to come rather. And you still haven't dealt with those things that you need to deal with. So that's what I have to say.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And the thing I heard over and over again, whether you said it loudly or you said it softly, love Christ first, love yourself, Cat Mom. Okay. Doc Indy, I love me some me, as you say. I love it. And then once you get those two, because if you don't love Roz or Doc Indy and Carla, Stephanie, Doc, everybody, if you don't love you first, that being with that mate is not going to be whole, because you got to love you first, and you got to love you more. Do I need to say that again? Love Christ first. Love you more. Love that man. Love you more. Okay? And then 2, I can guarantee you, yes, I can guarantee this one. If you love you and have that confidence about you, he can't help but love you. Okay? The right one. The right one is what I mean, because it may scare some off. That means that's not the right one.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. All right. That's it, family. You know what? I love it. I love each one of y'all. And you all
Love
have
you too.
gotten so many comments, not only on Zoom, but also on Facebook. If you want to go look back at them, and you can comment on them. Thank you. You can just look at them, whatever you want to do, but they have been listening to you all, and they really enjoy the transparency of you ladies. So I thank you all very much. Because like you said, what's the name of this platform, Kathy Moore?
Real talk.
Real Talk Now.
Real talk now.
Real Talk Now. Y'all
Thanks
make it
for
a good
having
one.
me.
Make it a good one, family.